Hi guys, it's Erin. Welcome back to my channel. Earlier this year, I had done a flip through of my planner from January through June, and so I thought, well, it's the end of the year, and so let's do a flip through of the last half of the year. So that's what I'm going to do today, and if you want to see how all my spreads turned out and my progress and style and things have gone and reminisce with me, stay tuned.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here.
So, in June or July of this year, I moved back into a big happy place. And I went with the wild styled one, mostly just because I liked how simple and neutral it was, and there was very few options in the big, and I really wanted to go to the big size. But I don't love animal prints, so I had swapped out the cover from this planner from a couple years ago that I still really loved. Hydrangeas are my favorite. And I've also swapped out some of the dividers here and there too, for that same reason. Just put ones I really liked in there rather than. That's what I did was for this year at yearly overview, whatever you call these pages, is I used them for my reading log and kind of decorated them up. So every time I finished a book, I would write it in here, and then at the end of the month, I would go through and decorate in between the stuff with stickers that just spoke to me. So that's kind of where we can see finished 6 books in July, 4 of them in August, 4 in September, and probably a good half of these, if not more, were audiobooks. I listen to audiobooks in the car and while I'm doing housework and stuff. Otherwise, I just don't have time to read. So this was a sheet I had made for a reading challenge I was doing. As you get in, you'll see these little suitcases, and that's part of the reading challenge also. October got super busy, and I only finished 2 books that month. November was 1, 2, 3. I finished 4 of them, and then you can see that suitcase from that reading challenge I did. It was one that a Melancholy Moose, I think it was, on Etsy, had done a Harry Potter themed reading challenge with a bunch of different categories you had to read, and once you finished all of one category, it was a Wizarding World school that you had visited. So I finished one of those earlier. There was a couple that I had finished that I was keeping track of earlier in the year, before I moved into this planner, so those are in another place. But and then November, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books I finished in December. And I actually finished up 3 schools. I couldn't find the suitcase printout for this one, so I still got to put it in there. And ended up reading 45 books in 2020, which was not maybe as much as I had hoped, but still not bad. So my goal for this year is 50, so hopefully we'll make it. So here's my currently page for July. Kind of went with a kind of more tropical theme. I really like how this turned out down here. And then my monthly spread for July, went with some bright fun colors there. And we'll just kind of flip through, and as I think of things to say, then we'll do that. 4th of July week. Here it looks like I went with a Dream Seeker theme, which is kind of nice. Looks like we had the first of a series of birthday parties um, that we were unable to do in the spring that week. Here again went with some more kind of summery, colorful stuff. This was a week we had a staycation and took off work. I took off work and we just did some things locally and hung around the house and spent time at the pool and stuff. So this was kind of a fun spread for that. Went with a floral theme here. That's really busy. I don't know if I'd do that again, but I think I had fun with it at the time. I love the colors in here, but yeah, this here is a lot busier than I probably would probably do again. And then August currently page, we did some succulents. I went with Dream Seeker for the August monthly page. Looks like this is when I finally got my hands on the Squad Goals stickers that I had been wanting, and I loved these blues especially, which I think is the big reason I wanted that, and some of these florals. So I remember being excited to be able to use those. Here looks like I just went very simple with some Free Spirit and copper foiled florals. I actually like this a lot. Looks nice, very clean and simple. Here we had a zoo trip planned that weekend, so I kind of went with a zoo theme, which worked out pretty nicely. I love the sloth. This was a food challenge spread that Mary Ellen from Planning with Bumble had done, given her patrons, and so that's what I came up with for that. That actually kind of turned out cool. Had fun with that one. September, I think this is probably one of my favorite currently pages. I used some scrapbook paper, and I think that turned out really cool. And some of these stickers from the Homebody book that I never knew what to do with, but I figured it out. Here's another one of the dividers that I had swapped out for September. Went with some kind of jewel tones for the monthly spread there. Monthly spreads are so hard for me, guys. So none of this, I don't think I've ever had one that's turned out really spectacular, except for maybe the one I just did for January, which the video is up today, January 2, so if you want to check that out. Go ahead. This one, I love how it turned out. These are some of my favorite florals. I love the colors of these. So that one turned out very nice. Here I used the Year to Shine stickers, which I think that's still one of my all-time favorite stickers. I think it's the blues and the teals and the watercolor effect I really like. So here it looks like I went with some pastels again. I think I was trying to use up some of the tiny sticker pads that I had and kind of threw in some Squad Girls with them. So this was, yeah, just some pastel colors. I think it turned out pretty nice. Here again went with kind of a more like mermaid theme, under the sea. Started playing around with using some washi tape to fill in. Yeah, that was that one. October, that was my birthday month, and kind of just did some fall stuff in there. Nothing, horribly fancy or anything, but monthly spread looks like I went with kind of a galaxy theme. Used a lot of Stargazer stickers, and I love this washi tape that I put in the middle here. So pretty. First week of October, so this was a coffee spread. This was another one of the Planning with Bumble patron challenges, was to use coffee. So I went all out and used up all the coffee stickers I could find in my books, and I really like how this turned out. Went with kind of a farmhouse. This week here, I again went with just some of my all-time favorite stickers. I absolutely adore these. I think they are my favorite ones by far. Um, this was a experiment that didn't really last that long. On the bright side, I love these stickers so much, and I like how this spread turned out. It's so pretty. These just get me every time I see them. Here went with some kind of fall colored florals from different books and packs and things, and I think that turned out pretty cool. I really liked the arched florals there. I think that was what I was most proud of. And this spread, kind of experimenting again a little bit with some new things. This was my birthday week, and I did a Ravenclaw themed spread because that's with a printable kit I had gotten off of Etsy. I think it turned out pretty nice, pretty cool. That's my Harry Potter house, and I'm a big Harry Potter fan, even though I'm 40. So I like to do a Harry Potter spread each week or each year, and so this is the one I came up with for this year. Went back to the Year to Shine book. After that, went with a more. Oh, this was another Bumble challenge. Was to use one to do a breast cancer awareness spread. So for use pink for that, but October is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and it's also Down Syndrome Awareness Month, and those are two things that I feel very strongly about, so I decided to do all three in one spread. So we had kind of an ombre effect going here with the pink, purple, and blue for breast cancer, domestic violence, and Down syndrome, and I used Year to Shine stickers for that. I'm still pretty proud of how that turned out. I think it looked pretty cool. Here is my currently page for November. Again, kind of did some fall stuff. I think it turned out okay. Another divider I had swapped out from that other planner. Here's my November monthly page. Again, first week in November, kind of started trying to use up the fall stickers. I'm not a seasonal sticker person by any means, but I had a lot of these, so I felt like I needed to use them. And here, I like how this one turned out. I ended up doing a lot of greens and purples, and I'm not entirely sure why I chose those. I think I was inspired by this sticker here, maybe. But I like it. I think this one turned out really, really nice. It looks like I used some florals from the gardening sticker book in there. This one was a beautiful black and white spread that I absolutely loved the spread, and I was so proud of it. But nothing got filled out because I was really sick and waiting on a COVID test and felt miserable, and the test was negative. They think it was probably influenza. I felt miserable that week, so I had this gorgeous spread that I was so proud of and I absolutely loved, and used some washi tape for a lot of stuff, and didn't have anything to write in there. So, oh well, that's life, right? 2020. Here's my Thanksgiving Day week, so I kind of did half fall and then kind of transitioned a little bit with a few Christmassy things, but it was mostly a fall spread. I think it turned out okay. I liked the purples and purple and orange together. Actually turned out pretty nice. There was my December currently page. Used some princess stickers, and then used a kit for the December page, and that turned out way nicer than any of my other monthlies. I really like how that went. This week, another sticky note I probably don't need to keep. Yeah, my back to using up some. I think I was wanting to use up some of these fall leaves in here, and then ended up pulling in some of these other florals too to go with it. I like how this one turned out a lot. Looks like I used some squad girls here on this one again. Kind of did some kind of boss babe type ones. And then here I decided I should probably start doing some Christmas spreads since we were getting close to Christmas. So that's what I did here. And here's Christmas week. Very festive. And then that was the last one I used for this planner. You got some ideas, and if you have any favorites, let me know down below what they were, any suggestions, feedback, whatever. And thanks for joining me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. And otherwise, until next time, keep being awesome. Thanks. Bye.